So did anyone get stuck in the middle of a command somewhere? Did anything give you problems? So if you look at this geometric construction one, it says to download this drawing. It has a link. And then it also has a link for a PowerPoint that explains how to do the different things. Also I have the video here that shows it. But I'm going to kind of go through a couple of them, some of the high points. So, but these are the commands we want to cover. This week you want to make sure that you know circle, you know construction lines, polygons, rectangles, move and copy, trim and extend and offset. Those are the commands we want to make sure you know by the end of this week. Because next week we'll just add on to them with some extra stuff. So, what's important about a circle? What's a circle have that nothing else does?
No edges.
No endpoint.
No edges. What else? What about the line of the circle? What's unique about that?
It's not straight.
It's not straight.
It's always a different angle.
Yeah, the angle's always changing, but what else? Even more basic than that. What about the distance?
It's always the same.
It's always the same distance from the center, right?
Yeah.
So by doing that, if you want to find another point, you can draw circles to find where a point should be. So if you want a circle to go through two things, you can draw the circle of the same radius from those 2 points and to find where the center of the new circle should be that it'll go to. And that's basically what this geometric construction sheet is. So like, if I had a point here and a point there, and I wanted to make a circle like that, I could just draw a circle like that, a circle like that, and then from that center point, draw that same circle there. So you can find where things need to be. What about, what's that? Tangent, right? What's unique about being a line and a circle being tangent?
They only touch at 1 point.
Yeah, right here where they touch is only 1 point, and that point is perpendicular to the center. So you drew the line for the radius, and then that line, it'd be perpendicular. So that means if you've got a shape like that that has a straight line here, and a circle in the corner, you know that the center is whatever the radius is over, where the radius is up, right? Same thing. Get rid of all that. If I have that, I want to put a radius in here. I need to come this way, whatever the radius is. And you go that way, whatever the radius is, right? And that'll give me my center point. So then the question is, how do we go over that distance? Because if you have 2 points, you know where to start from. But if you have a line, how do you know where to draw your circle to make it go? Any ideas? So let's go to AutoCAD first. So like here, if I know that I want to have a circle here with a radius of 2.25, how could I find the center of that circle?
Have you decided to draw a circle yet?
I want to draw a circle that's radius of 2.25, and I want it to be tangent to both those lines.
You want to find the third, you want to make it a triangle, and
No.
Can you go up and just pick the radius circle?
Tangent
circle?
Yeah. I could go and do the tangent radius, right? Well, let's do it the hard way.
Okay.
Draw 2 circles.
No. Let's look at our commands for this week. This bottom one, offset, what that one does is it makes a parallel line a certain distance away. So that's really what we want, right? We want a line up here, 2 1/4, and a line over here, a 2 1/4. So take control. So if I go to offset right here, what's it asking me?
Specify offset.
It's asking for the distance. So 2.25. Now it's asking me for the object to offset. So I want this object. Which side? I want it up here somewhere. Does it matter how far away I pick?
Well, it would change the size of your circle, wouldn't it?
No, what did I do the last step? The last step, I put in a distance, right? I told it to offset the line 2.25.
Yep.
So now what I'm doing is I'm just telling it which side. So it doesn't matter if I'm up here or if I'm down here. Anywhere on that side, it's going to measure at 2.25.
Oh.
Now I can pick another object. Which side do I want it to go to? You see, it didn't go to where I clicked. It went to whatever that 2.25 was. Now I can do a circle from that intersection, 2.25, and it's tangent all those 2 points. Okay? Here you go. So now I want to get rid of those, select them, hit delete, right? Now I want to clean this up. How can I clean that up and get only that part of the circle and take off those 2 lines? Trim, right? I'm going to go here to trim. And what's asking me first?
Select object.
Select object.
Go. What's the line above that say?
Select cutting edges.
Select cutting edges. So what's a cutting edge? Think knife. When you use a knife and you're cutting something, that knife separates it into 2 parts, right? That's what your cutting edge does. Your cutting edge is where your object is going to separate. So if I wanted to trim this outside of the circle away, what would be my cutting edges?
Those two
The
lines.
tangent.
Yeah, the 2 lines, right? That line,
Oh.
that line. I'm just picking the objects. It's going to find where it intersects. And if I want to trim off this part of the line, what should my cutting edge be? The circle, right? So it can be both a cutting edge and the thing that you're trimming. So I pick my cutting edges, then I hit enter, and now it's asking me what do I want to trim. So now I pick the stuff I want to go away. So I'm going to pick that, and that. It's everything that I wanted to go away. Okay? Questions? Then enter to get out of it. Because it still is asking me to pick stuff. Okay? Questions? Let's go back here a little bit. What does bisect mean?
For the intersection. For
It's
2.
more than that. What?
Just half.
It's half, right? Bisect is a line that's halfway and perpendicular. So we know there's an easy way to do an AutoCAD, right? But there's also more, because you don't always get the easy way. It's good to know how to do it the long way, so that way if you come across that, you know how to do it. So how do you bisect something? Anyone know?
Pick midpoint.
That's the easy way. So I could do that, but what if that line was at a different angle that I didn't know what the angle was? And then I couldn't draw a perpendicular line through it. So if I draw a circle here and I just go somewhere over halfway, then I hit enter, I can get back in the same command again. Pick that side. Look at the command line. What's it telling me?
Specify the radius.
And then it has those little brackets like this, right? Then what's in that?
And 3 feet, 2 feet.
No, this. Not the big square brackets, the angle brackets.
Then
4.843. That's whatever radius I did last time. So I want this one to be the same as that one. I'm just going to hit enter. Okay. So if you're drawing circles and you want to do circles that are the same size, draw one, set its size, draw the next one, just hit enter. And now you can just draw a line from that point to that point. And there it's bisected, it's perpendicular. No matter what angle that is, that always works. Okay? And the only thing is you have to make sure that you draw your circle more than halfway.
Why?
Because if you don't draw it halfway, then they don't cross. And if you only did less than half, then they wouldn't
It's
cross.
not because of the midpoint thing, is
Yeah.
it?
It's just because if how can I can't draw a line there because they don't cross.
Wouldn't that be your center too though?
I'd have to find in between there. But if it's even just a little bit over center, now I can draw the line from the intersections. What about bisecting an angle? Do you think that's the same or different?
Same.
What?
Can you make it like
From X to Z.
a rectangle and then
It's making it harder.
make it diagonal?
That's making it harder than it
A
is.
circle on X and a circle on Z.
Could I put a circle on X and a circle on Z? Does that help me? Or is there a problem with that? What?
The problem is you can't go past the midpoint.
Problem is that's a different distance than that one, right? So how can I fix that? How can I make it the same distance on both that I start from?
You just copy.
Do a parallel line.
You delete the one on the left and then do mirror. And you can,
But where am I going to mirror across? I'd have to know the bisector to be able to mirror it.
you can just, your mouse kind of tells you in the bottom left.
No, but it doesn't tell you exactly where the middle of that angle is. And I don't know what that angle is. How can I find the same distance that one and that way?
How about extending the lines? No.
We're going to leave the lines where they are.
All right.
Those two lines aren't moving at all.
Put in a circle in the middle.
I can start a circle here and draw it out, right? That'll give me the same distance on that side and that side. Size of the circle matter?
No.
No. But now, this point and this point are the same distances from Y, right?
Yeah.
So now I can draw circles from those that overlap to connect it. And then from there to Y. Now that's half the angle. And if I dimension it, I can see that they're equal. Okay? I'm gonna do. This one's not on that list. But if I want to divide this line into 5 pieces, what command do you think I should do?
Cut.
There is no command called cut.
Well,
I mean, there is, but it's not a 2D command. I don't even think. See,
Find the distance of the line
Yeah.
divided by 5.
Bisect it and then bisect the other
there's
two
no
lines.
command called cut.
How about bisect it?
Yeah,
Put 2 circles, get the middle, and then bisect those 2
yeah,
points and make
I
it
can do that.
And make you 5 lines.
But let's do it the easy way. Let's do this one the
Well,
easy
I
way.
want the easy way.
Now I want the easy way.
Damn.
Can't you set up the end point and midpoint and then
Easier way. What do I want to do?
Piece of shit.
What do I want to do?
Divide.
Divide. So I'm just going to type divide because I feel like that. Oh, that's a command. That's how I found about half the commands. I want to do this. Oh, it does it.
divide by 5?
So what's it telling me?
Select
Select objects. I pick that object. Ooh, how many segments? 5, enter. There we go. Sometimes though, when you do that, when you use divide, you won't see the points because over here in utilities, the point style is set like that. It says it's just a little dot, so if you have it on top of another line, you can't see it. So if you go to utilities, point style, I always like to do it like that one. That way I can always see it. This size, that's a percentage of whatever you're zoomed in at. If I say OK and I zoom out, and I type RE, it'll make them bigger. If I zoom in, RE makes them smaller. Just relative to whatever the zoom is. That way you can always see where those points are. What Osnap do you think goes to points? Give me a minute, it's not turned on right now.
Node.
Node. So if you want to use an Osnap to a point, you need to turn on node. Okay? On a lot of these, it asks you for the length of it. So for people using PCs, it doesn't work on Macs. You click on it and double click, it'll bring up properties, or you just click on it, right click, go to properties, you get this. You get a lot of stuff about it. So you get the start points, the end points, the total length and the X, Y, and Z, the length of the line, and then what angle it's at. So if I just hit escape, it unselects that, and I can pick on this arc. Now it's showing me for the arc, the start point, the end point, the center point, the radius, the angle, the total length, the length along the arc, the area of it, of what would be enclosed by that arc. So you can kind of see a lot about the geometry of whatever it is by just going to properties and looking at it here. Okay?
When
What was that?
okay.
What was that? So why is that useful? Having it all there.
You can look up something real quick if you don't
Yeah.
know.
You can draw it out. You can just click on it and go, okay, that's what it is. Like that trig stuff. Anyone here doing trig?
Yeah.
You draw the angle, you click on the line, you look at its length. No math. So a lot of these are on that PowerPoint. So over here, if I wanted to do an arc there with 2 1/4, what do I do? Let's get back to that. What should I do?
Well, are you gonna start by drawing a
I
circle?
want my arc to go out here.
Tangent to line.
Let's do it the long way.
You want to draw a circle?
Yes. Not right now.
No.
And I'll show you why we're doing it the long way in a minute. Because there's one way we want to do this that you can't use the easy way to do. So what did I use? Offset, right? Like we did before. So I offset them. So I knew the center had to be here, so I went out and up, right? Now what if I want it here?
Where?
I want it there. How am I going to do it?
Offset it.
Yeah. In which ways?
Offset from
Offset.
from the center above.
Oops. 1.6. that way, right? Did I get that one? All the commands in AutoCAD won't give you that one really nicely. They don't want to do stuff like that. Or if you're going from the outside of one to the outside of the other. So like, so if I want to do one like that, it's not going to give me that. It's going to want to do that. It won't give me this one. So I have to know how to do that. So let's do that. I'm going to make two that I know. So if I want to put one like that, and I want to use a radius of 6, where's that center going to be?
It's going to be down right.
It's going to be over here somewhere, right?
When you pick tangent.
So I did this one as a radius of 1. Yeah, it was a 1. This one was a radius 2, and this was a radius of 2. So I can offset, and I went 6, and that one out, right? Can I offset this one with a radius of 6?
No,
Why not?
because that one's smaller in radius.
What happens if I offset this one 6? Where would the arc go?
Way over there.
Wouldn't it go to the bottom of it then? Because it's going to be the radius away from that bottom side. Now I want to go from that side, so what do I have to do? The circle is a radius of 1. So let's look if I just offset 6. I get that, right? That's not what I want. I want it to be up here at the red line.
Couldn't you rotate that one off of the tangent point though?
Okay, but trying to rotate it to find the tangent point is really hard. It's easier just to draw it the right way. So what do you think I should offset it?
6.5.
Well, that'd make it even further away. Now it wouldn't touch at all. What? 3? Why? No, it's not half the size. But you're on the right track. I need to subtract that 2 inches from it, right?
1.
At 1 inch?
Well, 1 inch and 1 inch. That's 2 inches, right?
Oh, the radius.
Yeah.
1 inch radius is the diameter. So if I make it if I offset it 4, and I draw a 6, there we go. So the radius was 1, so I subtracted twice the radius of the diameter from it. So now I moved it up, and so I'd do that. And AutoCAD will not do that using all the easy options. It'll always want to do that or that. That's why you need to learn how to do it this way. Or if you have just a point you want to go through, it's not in here, but on next week's stuff, I guess it's not this one. On one of the future labs, there's one where it has to go through a point that I give you, and so if you don't know how to do it with the circles, it's going to be really hard. So here's this one. So, any questions on that? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and kill that. And so now we're talking about the practices. So for both the practices, for practice 1, here. So practice 1, we're going to draw a box, connect all the edge, connect the corners, then draw 2 circles. How can I get those 2 circles in 2 inches apart?
Move.
And I can move it and I can copy it over, right? So, but first I want to go to New, and where do I find my new file? When I start new, where do I go to get my template? Remember, I want to go to that V40-4 folder of the H drive. I can go to 4A, and I want to use this MC template. Whenever you start a new drawing, you want to use that template. Because now that template has all of our layers set up. It's got our title block and everything. So we always want to go and start from this template. Okay? Never start drawing on the one what comes up in AutoCAD. Always close that one, open this template. Okay?
Could you do that again? Showing us where that,
Okay, new.
that is.
So you go to New, the piece of paper up there. Then you go here to the folder list. This one here, this V40-4.
V40-4.
That's the H drive. And you might want to copy that template onto your thumb drive to take with you.
It's not on ours, right?
It's on the H drive. You can get it on that computer.
On the one you download from home, it's not.
No.
I have to copy.
And then you go to 4A, and then MC template.
Mine's not,
Okay, let me check that later. So it'll be there. What's your computer number?
Saying we can't do this outside the class?
No, you can't. You can copy the program onto your. Oh, your computer's not showing on this, huh? So, you're gonna have to come over there and look at it. But yeah, you can take that template off the H drive and copy it on your flash drive to take home, and then you can do that.
All right.
And also in that H drive, so this is what I'm looking at. There's the syllabus and everything. There's also the exercise folder that you've already been using, I think. There's a practice folder. This has this drawing for practice 0, the geometric construction. This is practice 0. And then for all the other ones, I have the pictures of the labs. So if you want to just copy the picture, you have it to work from. There's also a folder for the labs that has the labs for you to see those. So if you just want to copy it from there, you can either download it from the website or you can just copy it from that folder. So here's that first practice. So we're going to talk about that, right? That's a diameter, right? Diameter 0.5. So if it says R, that means it's a radius. If it has that symbol, it's a diameter. And that's a diameter of 1. So I'm going to do a circle. And since I'm doing a diameter, I can pick circle diameter, right? What if I just pick center radius and I want to do it? So I can pick there. Now I want to put it in a diameter. What do I do?
Half the radius.
I can do some math. And it'd be twice the radius, right? Or yeah, half the radius so that.
Or half the diameter.
Yeah. So, but are there any other options I can do? Like the command line.
Like, capitalize D.
Yeah. Remember the square brackets? I mean, those are my options. So I can say D for diameter, and now it's asking me the diameter. So I can put in 0.5, enter. And so I could use copy and copy it over. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to go to copy, pick my object, hit enter until I'm done picking. Now with a base point. So when you're copying, moving, stretching, scaling, whatever, the base point is kind of where you're holding on to it. So if I pick the center as my base point, you can see as I copy it, I'm holding on to the center. And so I can just point which way I want to go, tell it to. On this one, since I didn't really know, I didn't have another point to click onto, I could pick my base point anywhere. I could have done base point up here and still point over, got the same result, right? Same thing. Now I can go to properties, change the diameter to 1. So that properties not only lets you see what it is, it lets you change it also. So you can change the endpoints, you can change the diameters, stuff in there. So I want to draw this line tangent to tangent. How do I do that?
Go to circumscribed.
I don't have tangent turned on, right?
You can push shift and right click.
Got it. So yeah, so we can shift right click and use it one time. If I go to properties here, or settings,
It's always going to be hard.
if you notice which ones I have turned on and which ones I have turned off, this is the way you want to keep it. There are some people that turn them all on, but then these ones that you don't want to use that often start to try and override the ones that you do want to use. So it's better to leave these ones on, and then if you need to use one of the other ones, turn it on for one time only. Okay? Or if you know you're going to use it 2 or 3 times in a row, maybe turn it on for those, but then turn it right back off as soon as you get done. The problem with that is you forget to turn it off and then you get messed up. This one nearest, never, ever, 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 ever turn that on as a running Osnap. If you turn nearest on, it forgets about everything else. And you'll go right next to the midpoint. You'll go right next to the endpoint. Because it'll go closest to wherever your mouse is on that line. But never turn nearest on. Okay? If I go to your computer and I see nearest on, I'll walk away. Those ones, one time. Perpendicular, once in a while. When you do 25, you'll use it a couple times. Parallel, I've never gotten to work right. Ever. It's a lot easier to offset a line than try and figure out how to use that parallel. So I've tried it a couple times and I've never got it to work, so I just forget it. So I'm going to go to line, I'm going to shift, right click,
Pick tangent.
and pick tangent. Then I'm going to go over here, and where I pick doesn't really matter, just as long as I'm on this half. You can see it's coming off tangent. And I can shift, right click, tangent, pick somewhere on this half. You can see it went to where it was tangent. Shift, right click, tangent, shift, right click, tangent. As long as I was on that half of the circle, it went to the nearest tangent point. And then for this one, I could turn on quadrant and grab the quadrant of that, right? But using my tracking, I can just move my mouse over that center point, use the tracking to come out and grab that, go to there, and back up tangent. So that's why I don't use quadrant, because I can track out to it just as easy, and that's one less thing I have to do. But I can always get to the center if I need to. So for me, the center is more important than going to a quadrant. If you had quadrant and center turned on, you go here, it's going to want to go to the quadrant. If you have the center, you click here, it'll pick the center. So questions on that one? What about that one? would I do that?
I mean, you wouldn't use a circle and just chop off the bottom.
Yeah, I would.
Is that what you do?
That's exactly what I do. Remember, I don't draw arcs. You want to draw arcs? Good for you. I don't do them.
I mean, can't you use that other,
That squiggly one?
What's the squiggly one? No, because the spline isn't in a nice isn't an arc. The polyline command you could use, but we haven't done that yet.
Make a
So,
rectangle?
how would I do that?
Make a rectangle?
Draw a rectangle, or I could start from here and draw those lines, right? And then I could do the arcs. So that's what I'll do. This line, I'm just going to draw it over there somewhere. I don't care how big it is. I'm going to cut it off anyway. So now my circle, it's a diameter of 2, and I'm at this corner right now. So which of those options will let me draw that circle with using the point that I already have?
tan, tan, tan?
No, because I don't have another thing for it to be tangent to. It needs to be tangent up here.
2 point?
Yeah, 2 point. 2 point lets me pick 2 points on the diameter of it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go to 2 point. I'm going to click here, go straight off to the side, 2. Right? That was my diameter. There's that circle. I can do it again. There. Go over to 2 again. Right? Because that one was a radius of 1, it's the same as the diameter of 2. I also could have done tangent, tangent, radius. I can pick tangent, tangent, radius of 1. Put it in like that. So now some trimming. Go to trim. When I'm here, what is the default value? The one that's in the angle brackets.
Default value of
What's it say right there?
select all.
Select all. So if I hit enter, it's going to pick everything as a cutting edge. Sometimes that's the easiest thing to do. Now whatever I pick goes away. You notice when I picked, I used that crossing window, even though I was picking one thing at a time, because it's, for me, that's faster. I don't like having to go over and pick right on something. Sloppy is fast. Fast is good. But it has to be exact. It has to be,
But how did-
it has to be precise sloppy, not messy sloppy. If that makes any sense at all.
How did you do that on this circle over here?
Mhm.
What part did you pick that allowed you to leave that bottom
Well, so
quadrant?
I picked everything as cutting edge. This was a cutting edge, and that circle was a cutting edge.
Oh,
So it had those 2 points that it used to cut it.
okay.
Okay. Questions on that part? So now what about that? That hexagon.
Fillets one? Flat one? Make a circle and then. No?
Polygon.
Polygon. Polygon shape.
So I'm going to go down here in the slide out. There's polygon.
Show you how many times
So now it's asking me what?
Side.
Number of sides. I want 6 sides. Where's my center going to be?
What was it, one
So
by
an
one?
inch over, an inch down. I don't have anything there though. Should I get out of this? Trying to make some stuff?
Can you just make something?
There's lots of different ways to find that point. One is I could get out of this, I could offset these lines over and down an inch, right? To find an intersection.
Just do 2 circles.
Well, if I just offset that down, offset that over, I'd get a corner there. But also if I did shift right click, I have this one called from. That lets me reset where my relative point is. So I can use relative coordinates. I'm going to say from that corner. And now the trick is I have to put the @ sign. Remember the
Right.
@ thing? Even though dynamic's on, I have to put that. So I'm going to say @ -1, comma, -1. Enter. And now inscribed or circumscribed. So, what's inscribed and circumscribed?
Inscribed goes to the vertices,
Yeah.
and circumscribed goes to the flat part.
Yeah, so that's a funky square. Yeah, so inscribed means that if I draw the radius there, the circle that I do the radius of touches the point. Circumscribed means that I draw a circle there and I give it that radius to the flat. So circumscribed, the polygon is on the outside, inscribed, polygon's inside. That's what I mean. Inscribed, inside. That's how I do it. So I want to do it 1 inch across the points. So I want it inscribed, right? I'm going to say inscribed. Now what's it asking me?
Specify the radius.
Specify
Radius, right? What did my drawing give me?
Point, well, you,
1.1.
you want 0.5, right?
Yeah, I want 0.5 because the drawing gave me
So
1
half
inch
inch.
across the points. So I want half of that for the radius. So it's 0.5. And there I go. Okay?
Can you rotate those?
Yeah, but that's the way I wanted it here.
Hmm?
That's the way I want it. But I
Oh,
could've-
I know, but is it automatically set
Yeah.
up like that?
yeah, that's the automatic rotation. If I wanted it to go points up, I could rotate it with the rotate command.
Okay. Oh, all right.
So now I want that rectangle. I'll pick rectangle. And rectangle is one I use a lot. I use rectangle all the time. So if I look back at my drawing, and actually on the thing I told you those radiuses were 0.1, I think, right? I think. Or like a Moodle. Oh, I guess. Yeah, those radiuses are 0.1. So I could come back and do it later, or I can make those fillets there while I make the rectangle. So I'm going to call it F for fillet until at 0.1. Now my first corner is half over half up. So what do I do? From. Shift right click from that corner at 0.5, comma 0.5. And I want it to be 2, comma 1.5. Maybe those are for 0.2. Yeah, maybe they're for 0.2. But there it is. So questions on that? And the lab this week, today's your first lab. And so you do the labs when you're comfortable. You just can't do the next lab until you get this one done. So you want to get it done so that way you can keep going with this stuff. And on the labs, you're going to do yours exactly like this. Except you're not going to put the dimensions on it. But it needs to be in the title block, just like that. At the same scale, the same things filled in, except for having your name instead of my name. Okay? And then once you get your lab like this, then you'll call me over and I'll check it. Yeah.
What's the easiest way to do this? You want this on the paper, right?
Do it in model space.
So,
Draw it in model space like we've been doing. So you draw it here. Then you go to the layout. Double click. And then you go to your scale, 1:1, and put it in there. This one's not set up to fit, but on that one it is 1-to-1. So you pick 1-to-1 and you pan around so it fits. Okay, and all you need is the object lines, the black lines. Okay. If you want to put in the center marks and you figure out how to do that, that's fine, but that's not required for this one yet. Okay? Any questions?
I'm sure there will be.
And it does have everything you need to do. You need to be able to do it. Okay? Questions?
But to do this one, we pretty much need to research all those vids, right?
What?
We need to go through all the videos, don't we?
And I covered everything you need for that today.
Okay.
We just did everything you need for that right now. And then when you're done with that, and you have it on your screen in the layout, just like that, you'll call me over and I'll check it on your screen. Yep.
How do you cut out parts of the circle you don't need? See, the top left is like half a circle. How do you cut out the bottom part of the circle? Like, I'm not understanding.
I use the trim command.
Okay. But then when I click it, it wants to erase the whole circle. You know, it highlights or it makes the whole circle a dash line.
So when you use trim, pick your cutting edges, then you hit enter, and then you pick the part you want to take away. Yeah, when you go over it, it'll turn the whole thing kind of dotted, but when you click it, it'll stop it there. It'll never trim out the whole thing. Trim always leaves a piece. So I trimmed that. I can take out that piece, but I can't take out this piece now. But I could take out that piece, but now this piece I can't. The trim always leaves a piece behind.
Well, what if you wanted to get rid of 3 of those sections? You took out the 2, no problem. The other 2 you said you can't do. How would you do it?
Like that.
Okay.
Or you trim it from the end. So if I wanted to take that one, and that one out, I'd pick that one first, then that one, then that one. You have to, if you want to trim it out, you have to work to the outside in. If you have something left on the outside, you have to go back and erase it later. Any other questions? All right.